Hello from the Ivano-Frankivsk bus station. Today we have like a pretty big travel day from Lviv to Verkhovina, which is right on the border of Romania and Ukraine. So we're taking two buses, and I thought today would actually be a good day to talk to you about bus travel in Ukraine. It's kind of specific, and I've learned a lot about it in the last 4 years that I've lived here. So the first thing you should know is that in general there are 3 different types of buses that you might get as you travel around Ukraine. So the biggest would be like a coach style bus. In fact, some of the sort of bigger bus providers in Central and Eastern Europe do connect into Ukraine, like Auxjack and Flixbus. The second kind of bus that you might get is more of like a medium-sized bus that run between the bigger cities in a region. You'd probably spend like max 3 or 4 hours on one of these kinds of buses. They connect cities like Lviv and Ivano-Frankivsk. The third kind of bus would be like a small Mercedes Sprinter bus. So really tight, sort of quicker, and they connect a lot of the really smaller places. The thing is, when you are looking at bus tickets, you don't always know which kind of bus you're gonna get. So you don't really know what level of comfort you're gonna get as you travel around Ukraine. I've done like 7-hour bus trips on these tiny little Mercedes buses, the Sprinters, and it gets really cramped. You know, you have to do some yoga afterwards to stretch out your back and stuff. There are a couple of ways to kind of know maybe which style bus you're gonna get, and that also has to do with booking your tickets. I don't normally book tickets ahead of time. I will use different websites to see schedules, to try and check and see if I can predict what kind of bus I might get. But in general, I just show up at the bus station and either go inside and talk to the cashiers, or I just talk to the bus drivers. The only time I do book my bus tickets ahead of time is if I'm in an area where I don't think that there are a lot of buses leaving the next day. Then I'll check beforehand. Not because I'm really worried about the bus being sold out, but because I'm also checking the timetable. If the bus leaves at 6 in the morning, I want to have my ticket and just be ready to rock up and get on the marshrutka. When you buy your ticket, a lot of times it will have a seat number on it. That doesn't normally matter. People just kind of sit wherever. Occasionally a lot of people who want to sit in their specific seat, but people do just kind of choose a seat. Okay, I actually need to amend this a little bit. In the 4 years I've been traveling around Ukraine, 98% of the time, people don't care about your seat number on your ticket if you bought a ticket in the bus station to begin with. But 4 days after I filmed this video, when we were traveling back from Verkhovina to Ivano-Frankivsk, there was an experience I've never had before in Ukraine. We were the second people on the bus, 45 minutes before it was departing, and we got our seats. We were gonna pay the bus driver, as it's typical really in Ukraine. And then about 10 minutes before the bus was supposed to leave, people started coming on. They had tickets from the bus station, and they were very insistent that they sit in their seat, which is totally fine, except for, like I said, this is not really a big deal in Ukraine a lot of the times. And then another passenger said to us that if we didn't have a ticket, we couldn't be on the bus. Again, not true, but it's really hard to communicate these things and to communicate your experiences and what the bus driver told you, because the bus driver knew we were on the bus. So George went to the bus station. The bus driver was there in the station. He was like, "No, you don't need a ticket. You can just pay me." By this time, the bus was almost full. We got the last 2 seats, and of course, half the people didn't have a ticket, and they were paying the bus driver in cash. 98% of the time, this is not a problem. From now on, if I have the time, I'm buying my tickets in the bus station. Where you choose to sit is kind of important. If you sit in the front area, close to the driver, that means you have easy access to talk to him if you need to get out, along the way, not at a bus stop. But if you sit there and he picks up more people and more people and more people, and they're staying in the aisle, you're gonna be expected to give up your seat for older women or moms with children. Also, the smaller buses, the Mercedes Sprinter buses and the medium-sized buses don't have air conditioning. So be prepared for a steamy ride. My suggestion is to sit close to, but maybe the row after an open window, because then the breeze comes in and hits you on its way to the back of the bus. Sometimes the windows will open, sometimes they'll pop open like the emergency exit hatches, and then that's how you'll get a breeze. Usually they do have places for like backpacks and bags, but it can be kind of a tight fit, and sometimes if you're in one of their Mercedes Sprinters, you just kind of have to like stuff it down by your legs or things like that. So if you can be a minimalist packer when taking the bus in Ukraine, that's optimal. All right, so I actually just saw our bus for the next leg of our trip. Let's go. Thank you. The thing is, even though bus travel in Ukraine isn't the most comfortable way of getting around, I still think it's a really interesting way to travel. You get to see things that you wouldn't see by train, definitely not by plane. So if you have the time and you're okay with roughing it a little bit, I definitely suggest taking a bus in Ukraine. 70 degrees.
72.
72. The heater is on. Buses, 6.5 hours later. We've made it from Lviv to Verkhovina. I gotta watch where I'm going. This is farmland. And actually, not the worst bus experience I've ever had in Ukraine, except for the fact that they kept closing all the windows and the heater was on. You just gotta take them sometimes. There are some places in Ukraine you cannot get to by train, by plane. So sometimes you just gotta take a bus. They rock you to sleep sometimes. They're not the most comfortable bus in the world, but sometimes you get into good rhythm, so I've slept part of the way. There's, in general, we're done.